Drew Brees, former NFL star quarterback Drew Brees, he's bringing a pickleball court. He's got a company called Picklr, Picklr. It's coming to Seattle. They're going to open this massive facility. It's going to be 26,500 square feet, a warehouse. Full disclosure, I have a friend, so and we're not paid by them at all, but I do want to plug them because I know it's a really cool facility. Up in Mukilteo, there's a company there's a lot of these popping up everywhere. You just can't even service all the people who want to pickleball because the sport has grown by orders of magnitude, like 1,000% it's up in 1 year. Everybody's playing pickleball if you're over a certain age. And people are doing it, and they're loving it. And there's a place up in Mukilteo called Side Out Pickleball that a friend of mine is involved with. And these places are packed. This has become the number one hobby, especially for people over a certain age.
Yeah.
And people are doing it, and they're loving it. And so the question then, the debate we're going to have is whether or not pickleball is a real sport. You and I feel very differently about this, but we're going to get into it. It's going to be today's great debate.
Okay.
And in this corner, we have Spike.
Hello.
How much are you weighing in at? We don't need to say it.
It's more than I'd like to be.
More than you'd like to be.
I'm what you might call too fat for tennis.
Okay. So pickleball would be right up your alley?
You'd think.
In this other corner, we have me. I'm not going to say my weight because it's been the same since high school, but whatever.
Yeah.
I was real muscly and athletic in high school, so whatever. And let's get going. Let's talk about this.
I play pickleball sometimes.
That's and since Jacob's here today.
Jacob, you play pickleball.
I do sometimes, as that drop suggests. Yeah, I play pickleball sometimes.
Okay, so here's the premise and the question. The audience can make this decision. Do you think that pickleball is a real sport? And Spike, you are passionately in the corner of what?
I am not a big fan of the pickleball game. I think it's just fat tennis. It's for people who don't have the means to get out on a tennis court and play tennis anymore. And don't get me wrong, I understand that that's for a lot of people. It's like the electric bicycle of sports.
Oh, that's low.
But if you can't get on a bicycle, you can't get on a bicycle and pedal around, you'll need an electric bike, and that's fine. But let's not confuse you with a cyclist. You're on an electric bicycle. You just turn a little thing on your wrist, or the motor kicks in and pushes you up a hill.
You're making a fair point.
Pickleball doesn't require you to run from end line to end line. I mean, you can if you're bad at it, but you sit at the net and slam on people.
Have you played pickleball before? The athleticism required for pickleball. It's amazing. Somebody could go, and here's the reason that I think it's a sport and why it's so amazing. One, everybody's doing it. Drew, what's his name? Drew Brees?
Yeah.
Former NFL quarterback. I think LeBron James even has an interest in pickleball. Doesn't he have a pickleball? Isn't he part of a pickleball league? Can you look that up, Jacob?
I'm sure he's got a paddle, like Forrest Gump had a paddle that he sells to people, like Drew Brees does, to market his game.
Is he part of a league? Is LeBron James?
He purchased a pro pickleball team, that's his involvement.
How can you have a pro pickleball team if it's not a real sport?
You've got a pro cornhole team out there. You've got a cornhole league. Is that a sport?
Cornhole, amazing.
Oh, my God.
Listen, have you seen the athleticism required to toss, and we're not arguing cornhole, whatever. I mean, you got a real good eyesight, you got a real soft touch.
Yeah, and you can do it with a beer in your hand. It's not a sport. My case is closed.
Have you ever seen bowling? Would you consider bowling a sport?
Man, I love it when you make great points that are unassailable.
Pickleball, the problem with pickleball is that you can, and the reason that people criticize pickleball, and I will give you this. You're going to make this argument probably, so I'm going to get one step ahead of you.
Go ahead.
The reason that people criticize pickleball is because it doesn't appear to be a real sport. You can go from a complete novice. You could be somebody who's almost never picked up a paddle in life, and within 2 hours, you're a pretty good pickleball player. And that's a problem, because if it's a real sport, per your argument, if it's a real sport like golf, which requires a lot of time and energy, or tennis, which requires like an amazing amount of finesse and touch and years, tennis is so incredibly difficult to do in person. It's so easy to watch, and you go, oh, I could do that. That's simple. Pickleball is the exact opposite, and it's the reason why it's the fastest growing sport in the world, because almost anybody can do it, but it is a sport. People are actually they're getting a lot of knee injuries.
They're getting a lot of injuries. Pickleball is one of the leading causes of injury for people who are physically unable to compete in sport.
Well, that's because the average person who's playing pickleball is probably like 75.
Well, yeah. Well, maybe 72. I wouldn't go that far.
These are people who previously probably did other sports.
Probably played tennis earlier in their life. And it's great things. And I can work for your side a little bit on here, too. Anything that gets people out of the house is a good idea.
Gets them moving.
It's a good idea.
Gets them in shorts again. These people haven't seen shorts in decades. They got knee braces. It's great for knee surgeons. It's a good thing for their business. But I think it does require. Jacob, you play.
Yeah.
Is it hard to? Do you find it hard to play? I've only played A little bit. I haven't played a ton.
It's interesting that the worse you are, the more you move. So actually, as you improve at the game, you can do less work.
Yeah. Maybe this is the game for me. Nate Connors also considers himself a fairly good pickleball player. And he said he and his local guys get together on the regular and play pickleball. And Nate's not an old man.
No,
Nate's not out of shape. He's a good, good-looking guy.
Young-ish.
But then they entered a tournament in the International Pickleball Association of Utopia, and they got decimated.
Do you think Jacob was saying before the show that some of these really good 80-year-old pickleballers could smoke us?
Oh.
Do you think that's true? I don't know if there's an 80-year-old on this earth that I couldn't beat at every sport that I try against them. Every single sport.
That sounds like the gauntlet's being thrown down right here.
You have a person who's double my age.
I don't think it's
old bones, osteoporosis. They're not going to beat me at a sport.
I'd hate for a guy to drop dead trying to take me down in pickleball. I'd hate to be the reason.
Yeah, you wouldn't want that.
No, and I'd also hate to die trying to keep up with an 80-year-old. That'd be embarrassing as hell.
But it's getting people out. Think about what a cool thing it is. It's just because it's a sport that doesn't favor, it favors old people. Any young person who plays it would dominate, obviously, which is why pro pickleballers are just like any pro athletes. It favors the young.
Yeah.
They have young bodies. Their cartilage is still young and stretchy. They can still do things. But there's an entire part of society that was basically just sitting on the couch watching MSNBC or old person news, and now they're getting out and they're actually doing something, and they're stretching those old bones, and they're probably getting a couple extra years of life.
Tearing those old ACLs to shreds.
Tearing those old ACLs.
Yeah, those feet are flattening out with every stomp on the ground.
Is it an attractive sport? No, not at all.
It's a noisy sport. I hate the tink, tink, tank, tank, tank of pickleball.
I'd much rather hear like the tennis ball, like that.
Yeah, kaboom.
That's a nice noise.
It's a metered. It's got a cadence to it.
Well, this new facility's indoors, so at least maybe you'll be protected.
Well, thank you, Drew Brees, for at least having the decency to not destroy an entire community with the noise of your pickleball superstore.
I think when you look at the people who are playing pickleball, I think maybe the reason that you don't consider it a sport is because they're physically unappealing. Is that it?
It's the visors.
It's the visors.
Yeah, I just can't take the visors. You're right. They haven't had shorts on in a decade plus.
All the knee braces.
The pale skin, the visors, the tall socks, short shorts. Yeah, it's an assault on the eyes.
If they were more attractive and they were young, would you think that you would?
Ooh, you mean like beach pickleball?
Like beach pickleball.
With attractive young people in like tiny bikinis playing beach pickleball?
Can you have a beach pickleball? You can't play on a beach.
Oh, you can't play on sand.
Let's go to the text line for your response.
When we come back, we're gonna get your response, and you can tell us who's right and who's wrong. All right, we have a lot more coming up. Stick around. Right back here on the Jake and Spike Show.